Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Another episode of America Under the Mask. America Under the Mask. All right. Just giving you an idea of time frame here. It is 7:18 a.m. 7:18 a.m. April 4th, 2020. So I'm doing this early in the morning. Usually I would do this late at night, but I was enjoying a very long binge watching on Hulu called Future Man. Came out with the last season, I guess. I saw the whole thing. That's pretty much the last series of that particular series. Really enjoyed it. So that's what I was doing last night because we're in the midst of a pandemic peak. So now, before I get into the numbers and everything, in this episode, I'm going to focus on New York in particular because New York is going to be hit or already is being hit by the peak. And I'm watching New York to get a good idea of what else is going to happen in other major metropolitan cities. So this episode is America Under a Mask. And that's because finally there are some guidelines on wearing some kind of facial mask, apparently, it's not recommended for N95 mask. It's not recommended surgical mask, but a scarf, a bandana, homemade mask, whatever. I guess whatever you can by this time. You probably couldn't get N95 mask anyway. Now, if you're lucky enough to get a respirator, a dual respirator, if you're in the um, either construction or industrial facility, you'll probably most likely have some kind of dual respirator, a half face dual respirator. Those will probably work as well, probably with the P95 rating on them, but essentially it might even be better because those dual respirators that you see like in welding shops or sanding shops of some kind, you're able to, they're essentially just pads on the left and right side, and essentially you may be able to sanitize them. You could put those pads into an oven at very low heat for about half an hour or maybe even 20 minutes, depending on your oven. My oven, the lowest setting is 175 or 170. So I think about 20 minutes at 170 will basically sanitize the filter pads. It's not a mask, it's a pad. And the mask is a whole separate thing. So, anyways, so that might work out for me in the long run if this is prolonged. I don't have N95 mask. I don't have like a million N95 masks. I have a limited amount, and knowing I have a limited amount of PPE gear, I'm gonna have to be creative in, you know, disinfecting and sanitizing, which I do. I do. I have a steamer I bought a long time ago at Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight has something under their own brand name now, but I do have a link to an Amazon brand, or an Amazon brand, a brand that is sold on Amazon. And essentially, what I do is I put a little bit of bleach and water into the steamer. Originally, you're not supposed to do that, but I'm using the steamer as a disinfecting tool. And so I'm putting bleach and water into it, and then I'm spraying down anything that comes. If I leave the house and I come back in the house, I spray myself. I got to be careful. It is very hot. So if you're about 6 inches away, if you have the nozzle 6 inches away, it cools down by then, and you get a nice little mist of disinfectant, water and bleach pretty much, and it just covers you. Does it work? I don't know. All I know is I haven't gotten sick yet, so that's what I've been doing. I spray myself down. I spray down any object. Don't, you can get really close the heat will kill the virus, plus the bleach in the water will kill the virus, or disinfect it, or inactivate the coronavirus. It should. I believe it does. So there's a couple of methods I can use the steamer to disinfect, and so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to disinfect, and wearing a mask now that everyone's supposed to wear a mask. I believe there's a city in Texas, Laredo, Texas. They require you to wear a mask once you go into a public building. Um, I think it's a public building. I don't know if you're if you have to wear it in a private building or not. But I think more and more people are probably going to wear masks, and I think that's a good thing. Um, Public officials are asking you not to wear the N95 mask. I'll be wearing them. All right. The, the push the push is like to protect other people if you're sick, because there may be asymptomatic, infection going around. In other words, people who show no symptoms but are spreading the virus. Now, I've known about that since like January. If you've seen one of my first episodes in my Drive Along series, Drive Along Coronavirus, I think that was the same weekend that Kobe Bryant died. I think it was the weekend of the 24th through the 27th January. I've known asymptomatic, the possibility of asymptomatic infections going on. I knew a lot about the possibility of aerosol or micro droplets from speaking. I think I made a video about that. I've known this for some time, and I've been very prepared. Um, I'm going to show you something here. This is COVID. I'm going to get into the numbers now. All right, well, let's get into the numbers. But it is not looking good. So, anyways, I was watching Future Men on Hulu, just binge watching, just something to get off my mind. So I didn't make a video last night, so I'm making a video this morning. It is now 7:25 a.m., April 4th, 2020. So let's get into numbers. COVID.bio, the map is still not working here, which is fine. But let's take a look at that curve. That curve is not flattening. We're well on our way to peak. I think we're about maybe 6 or 7 days to the peak, or maybe 9 days to the peak. Anyways, waited for this to update here. So total cases, 275,586 cases, confirmed cases. New cases today, it is going up and up and up. New confirmed cases are still continuing to increase in numbers. That number is down here, and that is 32,133 new confirmed cases today, or that would be yesterday, April 3rd. This is April 4th, they're still tallying, but that's how many new cases. And if you look down the numbers here, yesterday was 30,000. Today, yes, April 2nd was 30,000. April 3rd was 32,000. The death seems to be increasing as well. I would say the majority of these confirmed cases, at least half, are coming from New York itself. So New York itself is the epicenter. It really is. So anyways, in this website, I'm not going to use any of these other numbers. I'm going to go here to the growth, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So if you look at this, oh geez, this looks really ugly, doesn't it? It does. It looks really, really ugly. These bars you see right here, that is America. This one is Italy, and these are the other countries. This is probably Spain or something. But I'm going to go to a line or no, I'm going to go down here. I can go. Let me take a quick look at the line chart. Okay, so if you look at the line chart here, you can see this here. This here is the U.S. Although never mind the date. It says Wednesday, December 31st, 1969. I don't know why, but that this is the U.S. Okay, and if you compare this, let's see, let's just I'm trying to okay now. Wow, look at that curve. It is incredible. Let's see. This is Spain. This is Germany. This is Italy. Everyone was like at the time when the outbreak started in America, everyone was saying, "Wow, look at Italy, look at Italy." Well, look at Italy now. It doesn't look that bad, does it? France, United Kingdom, and then you got these other ones. It looks like they're probably starting their up curve. Most likely, some of these on the bottom are starting their up their curve going up, or they have greatly mitigated their curve. They put the hammer down and made this into a hump instead of a spike. But look at the U.S. Wow, wow. This is going to get really, really ugly. Just to give you a comparison, and then here I'm going to show you something. Now these are the days here. All right, day 0, day 1, 2, 3, 4, and this tells you right here the start of the date. I guess the start when it started. I guess it gives you some kind of time frame, but I'm mainly looking at these numbers here because I want to look at day 1, day 2, day 3 of since I guess it's been being tracked here. Compare this track your country's growth compared to Italy. So everything's being compared to Italy, but I think Italy's not so bad if you compare it. And it goes on further. It goes. Let me see if I can. So it goes on further to other countries up here: Turkey, Russia, Ireland, Canada. But I don't have enough room for that here. I'm just going to focus on the U.S. All right. So I'm just going to focus on the U.S. here, or I'm going to compare it to the U.S. If I can get. Okay, so if you see it, it's turning more red or pink or orange here. But what I'm going to focus on here is the first 13 days. If I can get it in there. Okay, the first 13 days. All right, so I want to get slightly more down. All right, there we go. So day 0 to 13, and if you look at the U.S., if you look at it throughout the first day, they're all about the same. Then they kind of start varying. Then they start varying just a little bit, right? But once it hits the 13th day, once it hits the 13th day, here's the U.S. column. You'll start seeing the U.S. is pulling ahead. All right, it's pulling ahead. And I think those first 13 days was very critical. I think there was a lot of asymptomatic and mild symptomatic infection going on, which eventually led to severe symptomatic cases. I do believe the people who are spreading the virus are in the age range of 20 to probably 50, 20 to 59. That age group is probably the the group age that the virus is being most spread. Those are the spreaders, I should say. It makes sense. That's the age group that often works, most likely will socialize, goes out, especially the younger portion, but not quite. Compared to people who are over 60, they don't work, they're maybe tired or unemployed or whatever, probably don't socialize, they don't go out anymore like they used to, right? And so if you look at the age groups, you'll see what age group are most likely the spreaders of this virus. So if you look at the first 13 weeks, oh, jeez, I ruined it. So the first 13 weeks here, I think during that time in America, that's where the infections were going on. and people were being infected, but they were asymptomatic, and the incubation time is about 14 weeks, and so that's why you have a massive jump in numbers. That's why America in the first from day 0 to day 13, that's why they were able to catch up comparatively to the other countries, especially Italy, Spain, France, Germany. These countries had infections more confirmed infections and longer than the U.S. All right, all right. And so, okay, here we go. And so now I'm going to get into the numbers, people. Now I'm going to get into the numbers here. So let's take a look. Here's another website. Let's refresh it. Let's see what new numbers they come up with. Wow, 7,000, not 7,000, so right here, 7,406 deaths. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, this is now. Let's go on to yesterday because it's the same number, but it's going to give me details. Not too many have. California is kind of updating here, but there's not too many updates. And I like to see the new new cases coming in. So new case here, New York, New York. Look at that. Look how many cases they have. They basically are like right now. This represents a third of the case, but they represent almost. Well, I guess they do represent almost a third of the total cases. So New York, probably New York City, and then from there, some other places. I think their infection, their percentage from being tested to people who are confirmed, they're like at a 35%. You know, and I'm gonna focus on New York in this episode, but you'll see Michigan, New Jersey, Michigan. These right here that have 10,000 cases, even Illinois. The big jump here from uh, Pennsylvania to Illinois, and then Florida, Louisiana, Massachusetts, California. These are going to be the very hot zones. Of course, there's other places. I'm in Texas right now. We're all on borrowed time. Eventually, the rest of America will get to those numbers. You know, wherever you go, just stay where you are because there's no escaping this. The best thing you can do is shelter in place, social distance, and not get infected. Other than that, if you do get infected, wear a mask, wear a N95 mask, because if you do get infected, you want the least amount of virus to infect you. You don't want a huge viral load. You don't want someone who's infected coughing into your face, and you don't want to be breathing that in, because I think you'll quickly get sick. You'll get sick very quickly, and probably even more severe, versus if you had just one virus infect you, and over time it slowly, you know, I think that's what's happening. I think it's not a matter. It could be a matter of age because the people who are dying tend to be 60 and over. All right, people are dying who are 60 and over. But and although young people probably are dying, who you consider the age of young between 20 and 50. Um, but I think a lot of people may get a very light dose of the virus, right? A very light viral load of the virus, probably through fomite touching their face, their eyes, their nose, maybe even breathing it in just slightly. I think they get asymptomatic or mild cases. I think people who have, of course, compromised immune systems or already have, you know, a medical condition, they probably have a weak immune system, so they're feeling the effects. But it could also be the amount of viral load as well. Um, anyways, so let's just take a look at the numbers here in New York. Okay, so I'm going to focus on New York here, and we're gonna just the reason why I'm focusing on New York because they're gonna probably most likely reach their peak first before anybody else, and I want to see the data that comes in while it's probably happening. And so I'll be probably doing a video almost every day, at least for the 9 days that New York, or how many ever days that New York's supposed to reach a peak. That way, I know what to anticipate. have an idea of how it's going to affect me out here in Texas. And so let's, because I'm in Texas, and so let's take a look at the numbers out here in Texas here real quick. I'm going to refresh this. So this number here, like this is what I'm looking for. And from what I understand, it's about 35% in New York. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number, divide by this number, or vice versa. I think it's the other way. So, I'll come up with a percent. And what do I come up with? 9.55% is the number I'm coming with. You know, the uh, the amount the amount of people that have been tested and the amount of confirmed cases. So I'm coming up with a 9.55%. So that has jumped from yesterday. I think it was 7.6. So looks like it's starting to spread. It's starting to spread, and you can see that there is an increase in numbers, almost 10%. Fatalities, 90 fatalities, that's also gone up. If you look here, Harris County, which is Houston, um, has the most, Dallas. So looks like Houston is starting to really take off. I'm in Fort Bend. I remember when there was one confirmed case that might have been like 3 weeks ago. Um, I did that. I made a video on panic buying at Costco. Uh, yeah, those were the good old times. Can't believe it. It wasn't that long ago, to be honest with you. It wasn't that long ago at all. So I'm right here. I'm in a hot zone area, but I'm not going anywhere because I'm going to let this coronavirus pass over. Okay? You all should do the same. There's no point in running or going anywhere. Um, just be where you want to be during this moment in time. You should you should be there right now. You should be where you want to be right now. You shouldn't be somewhere else. And let this virus pass over. Okay? Let it pass over. All right? So I'm getting a percentage of numbers, okay? Now I'm making a point because I see the data here. I don't see the data in New York, but I'm sure you could find like the total number of people being tested and total number of people who are confirmed of having the coronavirus. So here's the US. Here's the US. I just refreshed this, so I don't have to worry about it. But wow, look at the total. Look at the total. We reached 1 million. I think every 1 million, there's 50,000 deaths. So if you figure, I think the whole world has 8 billion. The whole world has 8 billion people. That's 800. No, that's 8,000 million, I believe. So whatever the death rate is, all right. So basically, wow, I don't want, that's a large number. That is in a couple hundred millions of death. If you 4% at 8,000 million, that's easily like 200. Is that 204% of 8? 240? Would that be 240 million? 240 million people would die from this coronavirus. Well, anyways, for every 1 million cases, confirmed cases, there's going to be 50,000 people who are dead. Just to give you an idea. This is not just a flu. This is not just any other virus. This is the coronavirus, the COVID-19 Chinese coronavirus, Wuhan flu, whatever you want to call it. All right, so here's New York. Look at the cases in New York. They represent almost, almost a little bit over a third. I would say about 40%. Their infection is about, let me see. This is the confirmed cases. I can reverse engineer. I believe they're like 35%. So 1,002, 863. Let's see what number. Okay. Hmm. Let me see if that's right. Okay. Okay. I think I have an idea of how many they've tested. They've tested 293,894. So let's just say they tested 3,000 people so far. That's how many tests they've done to get that many confirmed cases, because supposedly the rate is about 35%. So um, let's do some simple math here. Look at their death rate at 3.13%. So population of New York is 8.623 million. So if everyone in New York got tested right now, here are the numbers: 8.623 million, and we times that by the 35%, I believe, 35. Wow, three point. Let's just say 3 million, because it's 3.018, 3.001 million. So let's just say 3 million. So 3 million people will be infected, and out of that, and 3 million people, the death rate is 3.13. Let's see what we get. 94 94,400 90. Let me see, 94,464 people will die in just New York City, or New York, I should say, in New York alone. All right. And so here's America. I'm just going to focus 11 days till peak, but New York is already reaching peak, here. Let's have a look here. New York. All right, let's have a look in New York. 5 days until peak. They're at 5 days. They're in the peak right now. They're all pretty much hitting peak. Oh wait, they got shortages. What is today's the 4th? Today's the 4th. They're 5 days from the peak. Um, they should be sheltering in place, and yeah, this isn't looking good. Wow. So I'm going to be figuring out what's going on in New York. Here's the deaths per day, and they're really hitting up against that every day. Look, let's see. That's yesterday's number. How many new deaths? They're actually pushing really high. They're at 608 new deaths. That's yesterday's number. Let's have a look here. April 3rd. Yeah, they're pushing up on the higher end. So most likely they're going to be on this little shadow right here, this little higher highlighted shadow. They're pushing up against that number in reality. Um, Supposedly total deaths is going to be only 16,000. I'm getting a different number, like 94,000. So, and here it is. Um, this is on the assumption that strict social distancing is is uh, is being done here. So there you go. Okay, so this doesn't look good for New York. It just does not look good for New York. All right, so there you go. Yeah, just doesn't look good for New York. Today is April 4th. That's the timeline you're looking at. And they're already hitting against the upper end of that curve, the estimated curve. They're already hitting the upper end. Um, I'm projecting like 94,000, potentially 94,000 just out of New York State. That many people dying in New York. And I guess we'll figure out what the true number is going to be. I'm saying the total of this whole period up to what day? what day did they say? All the way up to August 4th. So August 4th, that could be the death. This is probably a very low estimate in my opinion. There's a lot of people who are have been infected in New York. Anyways, so if you want an idea of how bad it can get, I can only say take a look at this picture. This picture is obviously the United States, parts of Canada and Mexico. But if you want to know where the virus is gonna spread, the virus is gonna spread wherever you are. It's gonna spread wherever there's another person. And the density of a population of a city. So if you look at this map, it's a map of, it's not a map, it's a photo of America overlaid with, the lights at night. And if you look at this map, this is probably the same map you're going to see where if you overlaid the infections of people and the location of those people who are infected with the coronavirus, you're probably going to see this same map. It's highly, highly likely, and depending on the density of the population. But how it spreads, very simple. Um, it's going to spread if you look at a map, and on top of that, if you put a road map on top of this, that's where it's going to spread. That's most likely the spread. So people are traveling, people are gathering in large areas, people are going from one place to another place, spreading the virus. They're most likely asymptomatic or mildly symptomatic. They probably don't know that they're spreading the virus. So should you wear a mask? Yes. I think at this point, everyone should wear a mask because the virus is most likely in your city. So wherever you are, if you're in one of these brightly lit areas, and there's a really good chance that the virus is most likely spreading here more rapidly than on the east of the U.S., east side of the U.S. more than the west side. The spread is already here in Washington, Oregon, California. So you see Washington, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, and the central valleys of California. This is Los Angeles, and there's San Diego. That is most likely Arizona. That's probably Phoenix maybe, and that's probably Tucson. Um, that's Las Vegas, Tahoe, um, Utah. Is that Utah? Maybe that's Denver, El Paso. That's Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Chicago. If I didn't get your city, sorry. Tampa, Miami, right here. Obviously, New York City. Uh, Boston. Where's Boston? Boston's probably very close to right here, or right here. Um, I mean, wherever you are, it's pick your city. You could probably recognize it. And those big areas of lights, that's most likely where also the coronavirus is spreading right now. Louisiana is right here, I believe. Probably right here. Louisiana is probably right around here somewhere. And there's Houston, of course, where I am. So if you look at this map, most likely the where we see the bright lights, that's where the coronavirus is. So, anyways, I'll probably be making more of these videos on a daily basis. I'll put them out as soon as they upload, and take the appropriate action, for your area. But realize that this this can happen. This can happen at any point in time in your town, in your city. Uh, Unfortunately, New York is going to be the first to get this, and I'll be watching New York very closely to see what happens, and not only just to see the progress of the virus, but what social impacts does it have? Is it going to lead to food runs? I'm already hearing like truckloads, all right, trailer load of the, truckload of trailer loads of refrigerated trailers being used to put the body bags or put the bodies. How is that going to affect the social dynamics? Is there going to be a breakdown in society? What's going to happen? So I'm watching New York very closely, and from there, you should take the appropriate action. Anyways, I'm going to conclude this episode. So thanks for watching America Under the Mask, and hopefully you'll come back tomorrow. I'll try to make a video every day from this point. Not sure how long I'm gonna do that, but I'll be making video, kind of analyzing everything. Anyways, talk to you later.